It's Halloween season again, or as we say here on Weird World.
It's Hallow-Weird World.
Today, we're going to start it off with urban legends. We've told a few urban legends on the show before, but today we're going to come at you with a ton of urban legends. Spooky, scary, creepy urban legends on the next episode of Weird World.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Weird World podcast. I'm Carrie.
I'm Dean.
And this is the start of spooky season, as I'm sure everybody knows.
Well, they do now because they just listened to the tease 4 seconds ago.
Also, it's my favorite season.
It is your favorite season. It's mine too.
Yeah. Okay, well.
Is it wrong to like Halloween more than Christmas?
No.
Okay.
I think that's probably fairly common.
I think it's more common than people realize.
Yeah.
It's less stressful. It's more fun.
Exactly.
You have candy.
And it's not like the moms of America.
Candy canes and syrup-stained popcorn balls versus everything else. It's no contest in terms of the candy.
Yeah.
For the 2 seasons, I mean.
I mean, the candy's not the thing for me, but...
For what, Christmas?
For Halloween.
Oh, well, you're insane. I wish I could. We're going to go trick-or-treating. We're probably too old for it, but Carrie and I are going to go trick-or-treating this year and just see what happens. We think people will give us candy.
Well, don't rope me into your we.
Well, I'm going to. You're a nice white lady. People do things for nice white ladies. We've established that.
I'm going to be the nice white lady who hands out boozy treats for the parents that come to our door. Remember, that was my plan.
Glad you said parents. Okay.
Well, of course.
Well, I don't know, Carrie. You have been known to push drugs on children.
No, I haven't.
Okay, never mind. Okay. I made that up just now.
Continue.
All right, today, so we're going to start with some spooky legends. Let's first do a little background here. Urban legends. What are urban legends, Carrie?
Urban is a misnomer, if you ask me.
It really is, yeah.
But, talk on the street.
Rumors around the street.
I was just trying to wrap the urban in there. No, just stories that...
One of my sources said that.
Stories that have gone around, for ages and that... Probably have no basis in fact.
Okay, so it's not like a confidential informant law enforcement kind of thing.
I don't think
like
so.
Huggy Bear to Starsky and Hutch says that, headlights.
Yeah.
Okay.
Why are they called urban legends?
I don't know. They really shouldn't be.
Yeah.
They just should be. But they do tend to be, they're little folk tale stories. And the key for an urban legend, I think, is that they're told as if they are true.
Mm-hmm.
And they usually have a kind of a friend of a friend setup. Like,
yeah.
I know somebody who knows somebody, and this happened to them. And that's the key. And they're told for kind of like shock value or some kind of a moral or some kind of a warning very often.
Yeah.
So that's the key. In fact, there's what is it? Friend of a friend is like a foaf or something like that. FOAF. And there's even some people call them foaf legends or something like that.
Oh, I've never heard of
legends.
that.
It basically means friend of a friend because that's a super common setup. It's not universal, but that somehow you very often find that setup, or at the very, very least, they're almost always alleged to be true.
Yeah. The one that I hear is like my friend's cousin.
Yeah. And what that adds, it adds some realness to it. Like, oh, okay. Now I know it's not me. Because you say, no, it didn't, Jerry. I know you. And then that didn't happen. You were not, you did not lose a kidney. You have both kidneys right now. So shut the hell up.
Yeah.
But if you say, no, it's like a friend of a friend. And if they push next time when someone actually says that, probe that. Because that's not true. No one told you this that you know. Because if you say it's a friend of a friend, that means that someone very close to you told you this happened to that next person. That's not very many degrees of separation there. It's bullshit. Mm-hmm. Have you ever had someone say that and set it up that way in dead seriousness?
I'm sure, but not one of these well-known urban legends, but I'm sure at some point in time.
Increasingly, they've tended to become a little bit more nasty, a little bit, and the intention is to scare or even disturb the audience. And again, they're very often told to warn you, to teach a lesson, to make a point. Some of these points have become increasingly political and cultural and sociological. Think of hey, don't flash your brights back if you see a car with its headlights off. Don't do that like you're supposed to tell them to indicate, hey, your headlights aren't on. Turn your headlights on before you kill somebody or get killed. And the reason is because that's a gang initiation thing. And the first person who flashes the headlights, they have to go after that person and kill them to get into a gang. If you stop and think about it, there's some motivation behind that telling. It's a little racist. It's anti-urban in this sense. Yep. It's kind of it feels like a angry white man made up story.
Yeah.
And I think it is. So that's what I mean. There's some political and cultural bent to that, and some reason. Like, look how these are thuggy animals.
A big purveyor of this kind of thing nowadays in the social media era is Facebook.
These things go along Facebook constantly.
Mm-hmm.
Are they usually set up? Again, famously not a Facebook fan, and I'm not on it. But are they said like friend for friend? Like,
no, they're said like the sheriff's department sent out this morning. Or, something like that. It's usually those types of things are always attributed to some law enforcement agency somewhere in the country. It's never specific. It's never this, it's never cut and paste from the actual, source.
Is it usually say like a name like the Johnson County, Pennsylvania Sheriff's Department? Well, because if it does, that's easier. Yeah. But I could see if I was writing one of those, I would do that, because how long is it going to take for the Johnson County Sheriff's Department to get the word out that that's not true? Yeah. It's worthless. It's too late.
But also, how many Johnson County Sheriff's Departments are there?
Now, even if they use, I just said that, Carrie.
Yeah, I know.
Manahawny County, whatever, they would still use a real thing to make it sound real, because the truth is always miles behind these kind of lies, especially when they're lies that feed into something that people want to believe. So for a long time, these travel through, urban legends go back centuries and centuries, and they travel through oral channels, and then kind of radio and television help propagate them. And now, of course, it's all about the internet and social media. And like almost all urban legends, the one about that gang initiation and the headlights was completely made up. That's the other kind of common denominator here. They're almost always untrue. That is to say, a lie, and again, a lie with often a political and cultural purpose and motivation. And many of them now have a supernatural bent. I think we're seeing more and more in that. And those are the urban legends we're going to focus on today, naturally, like all urban legends. Most are just stories, but these ones are, we're trying to I'm going to stick to creepy ones that are kind of shocking and kind of just spooky and creepy, of course. I will say this up front, though, now. Several of the urban legends I'm going to mention here are actually said to be true, or at least partially true, at least based on something true. I'll let you guess as we go through them which ones are true and not true. You might be a little surprised by some of them that are supposedly true. I'll be honest, a couple of them I use the word supposedly, properly.
Are you going to announce the 800 number for listeners to call in and tell us whether they think they're true or not?
I'm not going to, because it's not 1984.
Oh, and this isn't the radio?
No.
Okay.
Otherwise, no. So classically, there are kind of genres of urban legends. And like people say, there's urban legends that deal with crimes, or with like the flashing headlight story, for instance, right? Or some are like medical. There's a whole genre of medical, like the kidney. Like people are coming and getting your kidneys and selling your kidneys on the black market or whatever. Or supposedly, I knew a friend of a friend had a kid who always used to swallow the watermelon seeds every time he ate watermelons. And then, he ate some dirt or something like that. Whatever, his had a watermelon started growing in his stomach. That's an urban legend as well. That is, I guess, kind of medical. Others are like, I don't know, those chain letters are considered kind of a type.
Oh, yeah.
That's very internet-y now.
Yeah.
Or it's dominant.
Chain letters. Oh, my God.
Chain emails now, of course.
I wonder how many chain letters I got.
Oh, tons of them. That was a big thing. People don't remember letters and getting letters in the mail. There were chain letters that if you didn't send that on, something bad was going to happen to you, or you had to send it to 10 people or something like that.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you didn't send it to 10 people, this letter...
You're going to have bad.
And
if you break the chain, you'll have bad luck or something like that.
What did the letters usually say? They had some kind of a point. Wasn't there also a political point to some of those letters?
No, I think it was just like send $2.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember. But...
And add your name to the bottom of the chain. And then when you get to the top, then 8,000 people will send you $2 and you'll have,
Well, that's more of just a Ponzi scheme.
That's what chain letters are. What do you think they are?
I thought there was others that were just as sort of hoaxes, like if you don't send this, you're going to die or something like that. Weren't there chain letters like that as well?
I never got chain letters that threatened me death. It was always send money, don't break the chain, or you have bad luck.
Okay.
And it was always a small amount of money. It was $1 to 2 people or something like that. Nowadays, I have seen the don't break this chain or you'll die or something like that in like text messages.
Really?
Kids. Yeah.
That's
young
awful.
Dummies doing that.
I'm sure, again, it's all over emails too as well.
It's really stupid.
Some urban legends even kind of had like a commercial bent to them, or like an attack against something commercial. Like, you remember the story that Procter and Gamble, their logo, yes. their kind of moons and star logo was satanic.
Yes.
And they really suffered.
That was huge.
That was massive. They'd hurt their sales. They agonized over that.
That was during the satanic panic.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hilarious.
There was also a Christian woman who went on Facebook, and she said that Monster energy drinks has that kind of funky looking M, that N was a Hebrew symbol. And I'm not clear. It was Hebrew symbol for the letter M somehow. And this disguised or somehow was something to do with 666, the number of the beast, this mark of the devil.
Yeah.
And so Monster Energy Company was satanic, who's probably owned by Coke or something like that.
Yeah.
But just, these are dumb, horrible people who are spreading lies on the internet because they have nothing better to do for their sad little lives. Many also urban legends are paranormal, like creatures and scary beasts and things like that. We will talk a lot about scary creatures and ghosts and spirits, but we're not going to do like cryptozoology and stuff like that. Okay?
Okay.
Again, I want them to be kind of spooky, creepy, and I've developed our own categories for these, and they are gross out urban legends. We'll start with those, kind of just gross things. Then we're going to do curses, then creatures and ghosts kind of a thing, like scary creatures kind of a thing. Then dangerous people / vengeful spirits, where the Japanese are exceptional at the vengeful spirits, we'll find out. Then some urban legends that are kind of like warnings, And then, of course, we'll end up with a couple that are just plain creepy and some classic ones too. Many I know, I'm going to tell you ahead of time, obviously, some of these urban legends can fit within multiple of these categories, but I had to put them somewhere.
Okay.
So, again, urban legends that we think are spooky. There's about 1 billion out there. So if we don't get to yours, apologize. But
next year.
But yeah, next year, send us in. If you have something that we didn't cover that you think is an interesting urban legend, please send us in. There are tons, by the way, of super local, very local urban legends. I kind of, for the most part, left those out, unless they have some, a little more universal. So let's start with the gross out urban legends. There is the classic story. Well, you know what? I'm not going to tell you the title. I'm going to tell you the story first.
Okay.
This friend of mine, I knew. I'm telling you this, Gary. You do not know this, but I have a friend.
Oh, do you?
A colleague. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And she knew a woman who had been traveling on business recently, and she went to some pretty bizarre, kind of out of the way, third countryist, developing world kind of places. I think there's somewhere in Asia, I want to say.
Of course.
And she finally arrived back in the U.S. like on Friday night. She had the weekend before she had to go back to work on Monday, and so she looked in the mirror and she has this huge pimple on her face. And she's like, shit, man. Well, hopefully it'll go away before Monday. I don't want to come back looking like this. She was, a little vain. And she put it down to stress from the trip. Like, okay, a lot of stress. I'm relaxed now. I'll have the weekend. It'll be fine. But it was not fine. It kept getting bigger. It got more swollen. It got redder. It got nasty. It was right in her face. And it finally almost formed what she thought maybe it's like a whitehead, like it's a giant whitehead. And she's thinking, I got to take care of this. I can't go back to work on Monday. I'm going to pop this bad boy. I'm going to lance this boil myself. It's always a bad idea, but she's desperate. She doesn't want to have a huge pimple on her face when she goes back to work. So she previews a couple of episodes of Dr. Pimple Popper to get the proper technique, I imagine. And my friend told me that. And so she goes in there with 2 fingers. She's going to burst that thing, and it just, boom, it explodes. Blood and pus spill out and splash onto the mirror that she's using for her little self-surgery there. And then from out of the gaping wound of this cavernous pimple come hundreds, maybe even thousands of tiny little spiders come crawling out of the pimple, stream onto the sink and all around her bathroom where she was. She screams and tears at her face and, gets a towel and starts wiping her face violently, as I was told by my friend. And as she's, scrambling away, she's thinking, oh my God, I do remember when I was at that cheesy hotel somewhere in Asia where I did have this, I feel this violent, painful prick, and I just didn't think anything of it. Oh my God. She faints, dead away.
Yeah.
2 days later, as I was told by my friend, another friend of hers, not my friend, a different friend, went to find her at an apartment because she was late for work. She didn't come to work on Monday. It's getting late. She had a key because they're very good friends, and she was taking care of the apartment while she was away. So when she knocked and no answer, she let herself in, and there she finds her friend enshrouded in a giant web spun around her entire body, and she's hanging from the ceiling.
Those are some strong baby spiders.
Very strong baby. They've grown now. There's thousands of them. Thousands of growing baby spiders are feasting on her as this friend steps into the apartment, which she did because she was brave. When the friend came closer, she went right up to her. She can kind of see her face behind the web. And she looks at her pale face, thinking she's dead. And all of a sudden, boom! Her eyes bang open. She's alive. She looks at her friend, and she mouths the words, "Kill me."
Not help me?
And as she does that, several more spiders crawl from her lips who have just finished feasting on her tongue.
Okay.
The end. That is a real urban legend called the spider bite, except for the entire last part, which I made up just now.
Oh, my God.
I made up the last part about the woman fainting and being found by her friend. Huh? Good touch. Hey, if you want to tell that story as an urban legend, go ahead and add my touch. You're welcome to it. I think it makes it a little more gory, a little better.
So the real one just ends with all the spiders
coming
out
of her. It is the spiders coming out of her pimple, yes.
Yeah.
Do you like that one?
That is pretty gross.
I think it's very gross.
And it made me think about the spider that killed my caterpillar friend that I was trying to hatch into a butterfly.
You let it happen. Yeah. You could have stopped it and you didn't. You chose not to. You chose to let a spider kill your caterpillar friend.
No, I didn't. But I do like spiders.
Do you like snakes?
So it is the circle of life, but still.
Do you like spiders and snakes?
Yeah, they're all okay.
Okay.
I like all creatures.
Big and small. Do you like rats?
Sure. I don't want them in my house anymore, but
anymore.
Well, we had two pet rats for a moment.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was not good.
Yeah.
I'm never a huge fan of
it
that.
Ended up in trauma.
It did. In bloody, monstrous, cannibalistic trauma.
We could turn that one into an urban legend.
That really happened, and we can attest to it. So this is one urban legend is called the Rat King. I have two more urban legends here in the gross out category, both involving rats. The Rat King is supposedly not just one rat, not two rats, not three rats, but dozens, maybe even hundreds of rats living somewhere in close quarters. And over time, they've all gotten their tails tangled together and tied up in knots to the point where there's this massive, giant, moving group of rats that is known as the Rat King.
Mm-hmm.
And let's just say bad things happen.
Well, like what?
There's not really much more to it. It's just like whatever. You can kind of fill in the blank for what happens to it after that,
So, I've heard of this.
Yes.
But I've heard of it as a real thing.
Yes, and the source that I read this from, I've known about the Rat King for a very long time.
Yeah.
I think I've had it on the list for a long time. This source says, the worst part, this is a quote from this source. I won't say the name of the source because they're completely full of shit. The worst part is this is a thing that actually happens. So it's less of an urban legend and more of a terrifying glimpse at what's probably going down in the New York City subways, end quote. Bullshit. It's not a thing. It doesn't happen. It can't happen.
Oh, it doesn't happen?
True. No.
See, I assumed it was like when... like if they are like down in a sewer or something and they're trapped and they start to like crawl over each other to get higher and, they just build up. You know how like other creatures do, ants or whatever?
Yeah.
They use each other's bodies.
That may or may not happen, but they don't get tangled.
And then they get tangled up or something like that.
Doesn't make
because
sense.
Here's the thing. If it happens over time, what are they eating and drinking? Each other?
It makes no sense.
That doesn't make any sense.
They would be immobile.
Yeah.
There's no way they could go in the same direction. They couldn't
yeah.
scare you or threaten you. They'd be immobile and they'd die and starve to death. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
So, but you see a lot of sources we'll call them lazy, incompetent sources, say that this is a true thing.
Yeah,
it's not
I thought it was a real thing too, but I thought there was a reason behind it.
Don't believe everything you read on the internet. In fact, don't believe virtually anything you read on the internet.
Yes.
Actually, honestly, we were just talking about this not that long ago.
Yes,
if you've heard something that your source is just sort of a non-mainstream source on the internet, it's not just probably not true, it's 99.9% for sure not true. Until you verify something, your default should always be to not believe something that you've heard from the internet, especially if it's something like Facebook or something like that. Just 100%. People always tend to believe it without you. This has made you angry a million times. People their default tends to believe that thing and pass it along.
Yeah.
Your default should always be not just to not believe it, but to be pretty certain it's not true.
Here's the thing. 2 seconds on Google, people.
Yeah, 2 seconds. 3 maybe.
Yeah.
It depends on how fast you read.
Yep.
The next one we have is something a little more realistic, potentially. So we all know about alligators in the sewers, especially New York City sewers. You said to have, over time, people will like flush their alligator down the toilet because it's getting a little too big, which doesn't make a lot of sense if you think about it. And
no, you'd only be able to flush a tiny baby down there.
Exactly. So by the time it gets too big and it's freaking you out, it's too big to flush down the toilet. But that's fine. That's fine. Let's go with it. And so people say, oh, that's a thing. It's not a thing. There's been no verified instance of an alligator in the sewer. Certainly nothing more that wasn't something like maybe it was a lost pet and was there for a day or two. No alligator could live past a New York City winter, full stop. They're cold-blooded, ectothermic animals. They cannot.
They wouldn't be able to survive in a sewer.
There's food down there, obviously. Plenty of food down there.
Yeah.
But they would just have to get good at killing rats and they'd be fine.
But
including
wouldn't it always be too cold down there?
Yeah. No. Actually, it's probably a little warmer, but it's still too cold for an alligator. They'd be pretty slow and torporous. Yeah. But there's another rat tale from the big city, and that involves animal tale from the big city, and that involves rats again, which is popping open the bathroom toilet, or even worse yet, sitting down on the toilet to do your business, and suddenly something bites you in the ass really hard, really painful. You leap up, you look down, and there's a giant rat in your toilet that just bit you on the ass. That rat came up through the sewers, through the pipes, and just happened to be in your toilet when you sat down without looking. You should have looked.
Who doesn't look in the toilet?
Some people don't care. It had to go really bad.
I guess.
Okay, and this is usually going to happen to a woman because it's twice as likely, more than twice as likely, it happened to a woman. Yes or no? What do you think? Real or fake? No? It is said, again, that this could happen. In fact, there has been apparently actual instances of this happening. The sewers pipe, rats can go through extraordinarily narrow spaces. That's true. And they can get skinnier than they look.
Yeah.
And I guess most toilets are about 3 inches. The piping is about 3 inches, which is not impossible for a rat to get through. And they could be attracted to, things that are in sewers, gross stuff, because there's old food in that, in a sense.
Yeah.
And so it's not impossible. Suppose this happened in Petersburg, Virginia in 1999. This also supposedly happened in Seattle, to the point where my source said the issue is common enough in Seattle that public officials have given advice on what to do in case you encounter a rat in your toilet. The advice being to
flush the toilet,
close the lid, and flush the toilet. Yeah. So I don't know. I'm not going to believe this again. I'm going to follow my own dictum and not be certain about it. This one, if it's not true, the source did a classic urban legend thing and applied some fairly specific items and details to it. I just didn't have time to check those. I apologize, America.
I don't believe it.
Probably not, because it would have to come up not just through the piping directly to your toilet, but all the piping that goes down to the sewer from there too. I don't know what the thickness of that is. Maybe it is all the way 3 inches, but it just seems like that's a long way to go. Your sewer, the line is always snake. There's always that U-turn in it. I mean, that seems a weird thing for them to do. I'll say it's not impossible, but I think it's unlikely.
Yeah, I think it would be difficult because how easy. I mean, I don't know what the insides of the pipes are like, but it seems like it would be too slick and slippery. And
I don't know. Well, rats have those claws. Rats can do pretty cool, amazing things. They can climb. They're very good climbers. They're very good swimmers.
Yeah, I don't know.
They're survivors. Next category we turn to is curses. So we're gonna get spookier and spookier. Okay. Curses aren't as spooky. We're gonna get the creatures next, and then to some scarier stuff. But let's go next to curses. There's tons of those. There's some have curses to do with places, of course. I'll just do like one of those as an example. Some have curses though that if you do X, then bad thing Y is going to happen to you. I'll have a couple of those, and actually a few of those. So let's start with The Curse of Dudleytown. You ever heard of Dudleytown?
Nope.
Me neither. Apparently it's an abandoned city or town in Connecticut, and that it was founded sometime in the 1700s, and it's known as the Village of the Damned to locals now. It's entirely deserted, but apparently there's been tons of suicides and disappearances, and supposedly even demons or demonic activity has occurred in Dudleytown over the years, and it's just sort of a cursed place. Some people call it a dark vortex, like the town is a dark vortex. So it has this terrible, terrible reputation. Bad things have happened there, and now it's cursed. And so here's the if you do something, bad things happen to you.
Yeah.
So the rumor is that if you go there and you steal anything, like an artifact from this ghost town, you'll have a horrible curse will be upon you, and that bad things are going to happen to you. But it's this locus of weird stuff. There's been light orbs and wolf-like shadow creatures have been seen there, and people have also reported hearing disembodied voices. So I don't know. It struck me. This is barely an urban legend in my mind, but it is indicative of these kind of cursed places, and you do find that as a motif in urban legends.
Is it a real place?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I guess there's also apparently some group that calls itself the Dark Forest Association, and they sort of patrol the area.
Oh, that's nice.
I don't know. I don't know what they do. I don't know if it's supposed to be scary or just looking out for the old ghost town. I don't know which.
Yeah.
More normal for some of these curses is something to do with hell. Something you do something and you're going to wind up in hell. There's all kinds of portals of hell. There's not just in Amityville. Trust me, it's everywhere, people. There's one thing called the Seven Gates of Hell. And it's in York County, Pennsylvania. And there's kind of two versions of this legend. One is that there was a mental institution then, another very common thing in urban legends. It was located on a road that's called Toad Road, or there's another road in the area called Trout Run Road. It's located on one of those roads, depending on the source. And it's in Hallam Township, Pennsylvania, or I guess just outside Hallam Township, Pennsylvania. Very perfect. The legend is this, that one day in 1900s, a fire broke out at the mental institution that was there. And the reason it was there is because it's a very isolated place, right? So it was very remote. Firefighters were eventually called in, but by the time they got there, the fire was completely out of control, and virtually none of the inmates in the institution survived. They mostly died in the fire. And one of the sources I read said, quote, while others escaped and were soon beaten to death. End quote. I don't know what that means. Why? Why is that true? Were they considered dangerous or something like that? So you're going there to put out a fire and save the inmates. But if they get out of the fire, you beat them to death. A little confused, Pennsylvania. What's going on here? The idea, though, is these seven gates, right? Supposedly on this land, there's a bunch of gates, 7 of them, that someone put up at some point in the past. And for instance, one part of that legend is that the search party that was out looking for some of the potentially escaped inmates put up gates in an effort to constrain them somehow. Not sure how that would work. Wouldn't you just walk around the gate? I don't know exactly. I don't know things there's a big, I don't get the sense there's any kind of a big giant wall around it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how that works. Others say that it's completely unrelated to the asylum at all. It was actually this eccentric doctor who lived out there, and he put up a bunch of gates in deep in the forest here to keep people out of his land. I guess on like paths and roads, I guess. Okay. I'm thinking it's not described super well. But both accounts agree. This one thing true about these 7 gates. Only one of them is visible in the daytime. To see the other 6 gates, you have to go out there at night, like maybe midnight or something like that. And suddenly the other 6 gates will be visible because it's magic, Carrie.
Okay.
And if you go through all 7 gates,
what's going to happen?
You will go directly to hell. Oh. No one, it is said, has ever passed the 5th gate, which brings up the obvious question, that is, how the hell do you know that if you pass all 7 gates, you go to hell, if, quote, no one has ever passed the 5th gate? Not clear on that either. Sometimes the people who make up these urban legends don't think it through before they hit send. Yeah. So, or in this case, this goes back quite a way. It turns out in real life, there is a Toad Road out there and a Trout Run Road. It runs along a creek, and there is a bunch of gates along one of the roads out there to sort of, guard private property and keep off my land kind of a thing. If you go past this gate, you can be arrested for trespassing. Very normal thing. All of the gates out there can be seen day or night. They were apparently put up by a doctor. So you can see how, my guess is that first part, the insane asylum, got added to it to make it spookier when the first, and the doctor one was first, probably, like this eccentric doctor put up gates. Well, a doctor did live out there and put up gates, and he wanted you off his land. And so the story about, if you go through all 7 gates, you go straight to hell. And then somebody, hey, let's add in this whole mental institution story too, because that's way more interesting, which it is, but it's also, it's a lie. So go ahead and go there and check it out if you want. I'm not going to tell you where it is. It is near Hallam Township. By the way, that Hallam is nothing to do with hell. It's a form of Hallamshire in England is what it was named after back, whenever it was founded many
There is a place called Hell.
Ago. Yeah, there is. That's right. Where is it? I forget.
Like, I don't know.
We did
Norway
that in our weird
Sweden
place names. Yeah.
Scandinavia somewhere.
Couple more typical kind of going to hell urban legends are, one is called the 100 Step Cemetery. It doesn't have a name, but it's in Maltby in Washington State. The first one is we have a couple more urban legends that involve getting your ass to hell. One comes to us from Indiana, where there is a cemetery in the town of Brazil, Indiana. And it has 100 steps exactly leading, I don't know, someplace where you need steps. There's often a annoying lack of detail the way some of these are told. And so it's said if you climb the 100 steps in total darkness on, I guess, a moonless night, you'll see the ghost of the caretaker who used to be the cemetery caretaker before you get to the top of the hill. So these steps go up a hill, and I guess, I don't know what that means before, but at some point, if you're doing that little ritual and do apparently all 100 steps, you'll see that ghost. And he's a pretty cool ghost because he'll give you a preview of how you're going to die.
Oh.
So he'll show you what your death will be. That's kind of nice of him. At least you know. Like you can see, if you can see yourself in these visions, you see how old you are. That's good.
Yeah. Those are fun ones. I mean, not because I don't believe it's really going to happen, but those are, fun, like do this in a cemetery kind of thing.
Yeah. Have you ever done
They're fun
that?
and spooky for Halloween.
Right.
No.
Let's do that.
Not spent much time in cemeteries.
We should do it.
We have a really cool old cemetery that does cool things in spooky season.
We should
finally do some.
Okay.
I think they show movies in the cemetery and they have tours.
That sounds cold. It's going to be dark, right? I don't know. I'm not afraid of ghosts. I'm not a huge fan of being outdoors when it's super cold out, though. So we'll see what the weather's like around Halloween
We live
time.
in California.
I know. Well, that's okay. I rest my
October
case.
is often not that cold.
Still. There's another very similar story comes to us from Maltby Cemetery in Washington State, where they have 13 steps leading down into this underground crypt. That number makes a lot more sense.
Yeah. And
urban legend has it that if you go down all those 13 steps and you climb down into this crypt, you'll be met with a vision of hell so terrifying it will drive you to insanity. Okay. So don't do those things. Those aren't too much. Well, I don't know. What would you call those? Are those? I guess I'm putting them under this curses kind of a thing, but they really also could be. I was going to say they could be considered warnings, but they're not. They're not like little morality tales to warn you from not doing something wrong. They're just if you do this thing that's not wrong necessarily.
Yeah,
something terrible is going to happen to you.
But also, if I was like in charge of putting in the steps leading down to a crypt or a mausoleum, absolutely do 13 steps.
Oh, for sure. I mean, if they have to be tiny, do 13, or have to be big, but people have to jump over them. Do 13 steps for God's sake. Doesn't matter. There should have been 40 steps. Make them 13. Make it. They'll look like benches, like like a really narrow amphitheater. Yeah. Do it. Curse of Escalante Petrified Forest comes to us from the Black Hills of Utah. Did you know there are Black Hills in Utah?
Did not.
I did not either. And this is one of those classics. Don't mess with the area thing, because if you go in there and if as a tourist, let's say, and if you take with you anything at all, a pebble, a piece of wood, doesn't matter. Terrible misfortune is going to strike you. Those have been, over the years, car accidents. People have broken bones. people have lost their job after doing this. All of those things have been, it's said, have happened to people who have dared to ignore that warning.
So how many people have ignored the warning and absolutely nothing happened to them?
I'm sure none.
Or they won the lottery, or they found their true love, or...
I feel like this was something maybe invented by the park rangers.
They got that job they wanted. They got an A on their algebra test.
Wouldn't you do that, though, if you're trying to make people stop taking shit from your forest, especially petrified wood, which isn't going to be made again? Yeah. It's a finite resource. I would say something like that, too. Yeah. I would say, no, if you take some out of there, you might get the shit beaten out of you as you walk out of the forest because this big old park ranger's going to beat the shit out of you. Mm-hmm. I don't know. And hire some thug.
I don't endorse that method.
I think it's a good thing to do. Last curse we have is called the Red Room Curse. And this is kind of an internet thing, a more modern urban legend, because this takes the form of like a pop-up ad, which I know are much less common than they used to be. They're still now pop-ups, you see more and more on websites. Websites are becoming absolutely unwatchable, unreadable, unnavigable. It's getting awful. The advertisements on websites, I don't know if you've noticed this or not, it's just getting worse and worse and worse all the time. There are many, many websites I used to use that are just, it's awful. You have to close 15 things to try to read something on that website. It's really terrible. It's really abusive.
Yeah, I see those on like mommy blog kinds of things or recipe websites, stuff like that. They're just like somebody who has their own little website.
Yeah, and you sign up with some sleazy marketing company. Yeah. This is what they do. And they make your website unusable.
I never go to those websites ever
I hate those websites, and I try to avoid them as much as I can. Yeah. And there needs to be something done about that. Yeah. Honestly. Does
AdBlocker take care of that?
No, does not. And the Googles and people like that, they don't want to stop that. They make money off of that. Yeah. So it's pretty scuzzy. But it really does make the internet. It's ruining the internet. It's something that has to be, people need to do something about in the very near future. So this pop-up would feature a red screen would come onto your computer, and in black text it would say, "Do you like the Red Room?" Oh. And there's usually like a voice would ask this, like, "Do you like the Red Room?" Which I was attempting to sound kind of
scary.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Did it work?
Sure.
Okay. And the pop-up, if you try to hit it and not, X out of it, it would just come back and pop back again and again and again until at least that entire recording, that question came all the way out. And then as it ended, your entire screen would turn red, and then apparently tons of names would just start coming up all of your screen. And those were the names of past victims who had been killed by this curse of the Red Room. Oh. So what happens next, allegedly, is that the pop-up, the people who saw that pop-up, they're like found dead the next day, always. And usually, in many cases, the walls are splattered with blood red, just like was on the pop-up, creating, in reality, a red room. Huh. So do you like the Red Room?
And that's kind of clever.
It's very clever, and it's inescapable. Yeah. And if you see it, it's too late. You're going to die. Bloody.
Wow.
Not sure how the die happens, the dying part, the bloody part, any of that. But
I'm going to say you explode.
Oh, I hadn't thought about that. Yeah. I like that. Do I
don't know how you explode, but it's all supernatural, so it doesn't matter how.
That's true. I'm going with your exploding person thing.
Well, how else would the walls turn red?
I don't know. Yeah, maybe something comes out of the computer with a knife. Like in The Ring. The Ring? Yeah, The Ring. And they have a knife and they slice you up and blood.
Oh.
Come on, there's other ways. Use your imagination, Carrie.
Sure.
Now we turn to scary creatures and ghosts, all kinds of urban legends about those. And how can you start with anything other than the classic scary creature from urban legend, the classic kind of ghost, who is Bloody Mary. Oh. We're not going to talk about that too much because we did actually talk about that in one of our past episodes. I tried to look up, but I couldn't find it. It's one of those ones, I think, where we just did a bunch of scary stories for Halloween. So Bloody Mary is this idea, if you don't know, and you probably should, but it's a thing, we go into a dark room and there's a mirror and
bathroom.
We always use the bathroom. Yeah. I'll tell you, I probably told it on the one we did it 100 episodes ago, but you say Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. And then I think you usually close your eyes and you open your eyes and Bloody Mary's there and she scares you and you run out of the room, or worst case scenario, she kills you.
Yeah.
And that's the idea of Bloody Mary. We found it when we were in Texas, and I was probably like 11, maybe something like that. But me and my brothers, we found this old abandoned barn. It's not there, like a hovel, like a shack.
Yeah,
it had like a 1-room shack, and it had a mirror in it, a mostly broken mirror, but still had a mirror. We 100%, and it was dark. It was still daylight outside, right? But it was inside. It was pretty dark.
Yeah.
And we did the Bloody Mary thing. And of course, no one saw Bloody Mary, I think, but we all, I'm sure, squealed like girls.
But you used to have 4 brothers, and now you only have 3.
Ooh. Do you think it's a coincidence or not?
No.
So Bloody Mary. Okay. All right. Gary, hey, thanks for that. That was well said. So anyway, so that's Bloody Mary. That's a classic. It's a great one. There's a bunch of other scary ghost things. So I'll tell you a few of those. One is Screaming Jenny. Ever heard of Screaming Jenny?
No.
She was supposedly this poor woman, and she didn't have a family. She lived alone along the tracks of the B&O Railroad in Harpers Ferry, West Virginia. And one day she warming up some, let's say, stew or soup or something like that on a campfire.
Probably beans.
Probably beans, maybe a can of beans, all right? And she was open fire, because that's how she lived.
Yeah.
And a spark burst from the fire and caught on her dress.
Oh,
and
no.
It instantly, I'm going to say she had it soaked in kerosene, let's say. So it instantly burst into flames, and she starts screaming and running around and trying to put the flames out. And remember, she lived right by the railroad track, so she hears a train coming, and so she runs for the train, thinking, okay, it's a person at least, and she flails at the train as her dress is burning and engulfing her in flames all around you, and she slips and she falls right onto the tracks, and she's run over by the train,
Lord.
And it hits her and kills her. And in the thing I read this, that's where it ends. Come on, people. Use your imagination. You've got to see a ghost. You've got to see something bad happen. She lures kids onto the train tracks.
Yeah.
Something. Come on, people.
So she doesn't. The story isn't that she haunts the train tracks.
You would think, and maybe she does. And this source just didn't, wrote half of a
Finish
legend.
the story.
I don't know. Left out the key part.
Yeah.
Just the origins. Origin stories only, please, is the name of the website. No, I'm kidding. So that's the Screaming Jenny, which, again, let's assume if you're from West Virginia and you've heard this one, please tell us if there's more to that story. I sure hope there is. If there's not, let's make it up.
Yeah. Well, that one has a moral. That's a morality tale, right?
Which is?
Don't run around the train tracks.
Is that what you got from that?
Yeah.
Carrie, she's on fire.
You might slip and fall.
I don't know that it would have. Honestly, if you stop and think about it, that may have been the best thing that could happen to her.
Also, stop, drop, and roll, people.
Yeah, that's probably the better idea. That's the better moral, Carrie.
Yeah.
Not don't run by trains.
Well, that one is universal anytime.
The stop, drop, and roll, the don't run by trains.
Don't run by trains.
That is universal. So you learned that like in kindergarten, first grade?
You do that.
Everybody did?
You always stay away from train tracks.
In your school district, they taught you don't run by trains.
Stop,
just
drop,
like
and roll.
Day
It's
one.
just for one thing.
Did you grow up in Pennsylvania?
I grew up down the street from train tracks, and my dad had a work building very near some train tracks. We used to go put nickels on the train tracks.
So you grew up with a healthy respect for trains.
Yes.
And did you ever run by a train?
No.
Did you ever have a dress catch on fire?
No.
Then maybe you would have run to a train if you had a dress catch on fire, Carrie.
No,
Don't.
Because I learned stop, drop, and roll as a youngster.
I feel like you're being a little too negative on Screaming Jenny. And she did the best she could. Carrie, she's alone.
I agree she did.
Okay.
But now that we know better, do better.
Yeah. Okay. So still sound a little bitchy there. A little white lady moral story there going on. Huggin' Molly. Love that name. Huggin' Molly. She comes to us from Alabama, Abbeville, Alabama. I probably mispronounced that. Abbeville. Abbeville? I don't know. So it's in Alabama, and there's supposedly a story of a phantom woman there, and she appears to children only, but she only appears to children who do what, Gary? Stay out late at night.
Oh.
See them around. See that a lot of these do have this lesson.
Yeah.
And if you do stay out too late and you see Huggin' Molly, she'll come up to you and she'll like walk behind you and she will grab you around and grip you tight in a bear hug and then scream as loud as she can in your ear. She's not trying to hurt you. She's just trying to warn you and scare you. So you stop staying out so late, you little shit.
Get home.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's Huggin' Molly. Is that a great name? I feel like the name came first, and then they just thought of a legend behind it, and I applaud that. I'm okay. And could that be the name of a country band? It absolutely could.
I assume Hug a Molly was going to squeeze you so hard you suffocate and die.
That would be good too. So whoever made this one up was just trying to be a little more like, don't do it. You're not going to die. Let's not get carried away.
It's a little less scary.
It's a lot less scary.
Screams in your ear.
It's still something you want to avoid.
Yeah, probably.
Theoretically. I wouldn't want that. I had earaches when I was a kid. I had ear infections. I would not want that.
True.
That would deter me more than she, squeezes you to death. I'm willing to take a shot. I'm going to go see that. Have you ever heard of the Carter brothers?
No.
People in Louisiana have. It's because in the early 1930s, a young woman came running into the local, let's say, sheriff's station or police station somewhere in New Orleans. And she had a hell of a story to tell because she had these slash marks on her wrist.
Oh,
like she'd been cut or tied up or something like that, or somehow bled.
Who else
from the
has
wrist.
a slash mark on their wrist in this house?
I don't know. Who?
You do.
I do?
From the
Where?
cat.
Oh, that's not my wrist. It's on my arm.
Well, close enough.
Not really that close at all. A full 8 inches away from my wrist, at least. Maybe more. And that was a cat that did that. This is not from a cat. This is something much worse than a cat. So the police listened to her story, and she says, I've been trapped. I was kidnapped by the Carter brothers, apparently a prominent family, let's just say they were, in New Orleans, and they've been drinking my blood. They've been feeding off my blood. So they go to the French Quarter where the Carter brothers had their home, and they storm in there, they break in, and what do they find? More young women, all of them tied up with bloody wounds on their wrists. The Carter brothers have been feeding off the blood of multiple people.
Are they vampires?
It was thought that they were vampires. So now the police say, okay, these guys are vampires. So what happened? They were captured and executed.
The end.
This is in the 1930s, remember? You could look these up. Urban legend maker-uppers, okay? The 1930s in New Orleans. That'd be difficult, I know. You lack some specific, and Carter is a very common name, but still. And so they're executed, they're dead, they're buried in a crypt, as you do in New Orleans. But then next time it came time to, I don't know, inter something in that crypt, the Carter brothers were not there.
Of course not.
They were indeed vampires, it turns out. This is all true. That's the story of the Carter brothers. Another one is from kind of the South. It comes to us from Maryland. People forget Maryland was a slave state at the start of the Civil War, but chose to stay with the Union and became a non-slave state. And people now it's a very kind of an urban state, an urban and suburban state, and people don't realize it is actually south of the Mason-Dixon line. The Mason-Dixon line is the northern border of Maryland with the southern border of Pennsylvania. So people do forget that. In Maryland, there was a place called the Greenbrier Swamp, and nearby was a slave owner and slave holder, and he had a slave named Big Liz. She was a big woman. Turns out Big Liz was doing some spying for the Union side during the Civil War.
Good for Big Liz.
Yeah, good for Big Liz. But unfortunately, he found out.
Uh-oh.
The monster who owned, quote unquote, Big Liz discovered this, but he did not tell Big Liz about this. He said, hey, Big Liz, you're strong. Can you come out to the swamp with me? I know of a buried treasure, and I'm going to help you. You're going to help me dig up that buried treasure, and I'll give you some of the treasure. So he says, hell yes, I'm up for it. So they go out there. He leads her out there. He says, like he's reading a map, let's say, and he says, okay, there's the spot. Start digging. So she starts digging, and he makes her dig, let's say 6 feet. And she comes out of the hole, and as she's rising up out of this hole, he takes a, let's say, sword, and he decapitates her, chops off her head, kicks the body back into the hole, buries her in the grave that she just dug for herself. It is said today, even today, if you go down to the spot in the Greenbrier Swamp where Big Liz and her head were buried so many years ago, you have to do it in the darkest part of the night. You'll see her spirit, her ghost, and that ghost is going to attempt to lure you deeper and deeper into this murky swamp, probably to die.
Yeah.
Remember, this is in Maryland. Mm-hmm. So I would like to see this swamp on a map. It's probably a square mile. It's not really a swamp. It's probably a nice suburban park these days. But it's sad that she still is trying to lure people into this swamp. I think Greenbrier's in the DC area, but I'm not sure. I probably should have looked that up. Is there still a Greenbrier swamp in Maryland? I honestly do not know. Have you heard of the Ghost Boy of Clinton Road?
Nope.
People in New Jersey have. In fact, Passaic County, New Jersey, it's a little ghost boy. That's about it. It's a quick one. I just read it because it seemed a little interesting because it said that a little boy lived beneath the bridge in Passaic County. Yeah. I don't know why. I guess he was alone. So he lived beneath the bridge and he died. We don't know how. Not a lot of details in this, but he died. And now his ghost, his spirit lives on in the area of that bridge there. And if you go there, he's actually very helpful. He's another nice urban legend ghost. Because if you drop a coin into the water that this bridge goes over, let's call it a river, let's say, he will somehow magically return it to you within one full day, within 24 hours. Apparently, supposedly, a lot of teenagers in the area go out there and drop a coin into the water and see what happens. I'm assuming they then go to their friends. Oh my God, that quarter was under my pillow.
They do. Yeah, so, he's like, I'm dead, guys. I don't need this money anymore. Here,
guys, take it.
Or where were you when I was a starving child?
Yeah. This quarter could have bought like a year's worth of food back then. Probably no. Jerks. I have one creature for you. It comes to us from North Dakota. It's called the Mini-Washitu. It lives along the banks of the Missouri River in North Dakota. And it's said to be a giant, red, hairy, monstrous creature with these spikes on its back. It has a horn, and it's a cyclopean thing because it only has one eye. But I mention it because it's one of those warning stories, too, where if you look at it, you'll turn blind, probably go insane, maybe even die.
Uh-oh.
So
all bad things.
So if you do see the Mini-Washitu, first of all, given its description, you're probably going to turn around and run, and you should. But for whatever you do, don't look it in the eyes.
Yeah. Okay. The eye. The one eye.
The one eye. Yes. Have you heard of Fingernail Freddy from Rhode Island?
No.
This is actually interesting because you'll see why in just a second. Fingernail Freddy was said to be a woodsman. He lived in the forest of Rhode Island, which, if you don't know, is the smallest state in the country. It's very small. I'm sure there is forest. I'm sure, again, like Maryland swamp, they're very small. But he's also sometimes called Fingernails Freddy. And he was just a normal guy. He lived out in the forest somewhere with his wife and children. And one day, though, some neighborhood kids, we don't know if it's accidental or maybe it was on purpose, they lit his house on fire.
That's terrible.
It killed his whole family. It almost killed Freddy, but it didn't. He survived, but he was horrifically burned. His face was just a mass of scar tissue, and presumably so was the rest of his body. So he went out and he swore vengeance against these kids and their families and the people of the area. So he went out and lived in the woods near Camp Carana, and going to, take revenge on anybody who crosses his path. While he was out there, he apparently didn't have nail clippers because his fingernails just grew longer and longer and longer to the point where Fingernail Freddy had giant, jagged nails. And it was said that he hated campers in the area. He hated any noise they made. If you were like a noisy camper, he'd come to you and he would slice your face with his giant sharp fingernails, maybe even rip through your tent or something like that, and attack you and claw you with these fingernails. So you were always told, keep it down or Fingernail Freddy is going to come after us when you're at the campfire, I guess, things like that.
Yeah.
So again, something probably made up by park rangers again, like shut up. So another version, by the way, says that if anyone goes on to his former property where he used to live, they would be murdered by Fingernail Freddy. Yeah. So don't go in his area and make noise, but for sure do not go on the actual plot of land he used to own where his family died. That's Fingernail Freddy. Who do you think Fingernail Freddy became in one of the most successful movies in the history of cinema?
I'm going to go with Freddy Krueger.
He did. That is considered, and it is considered the inspiration
for
Freddy Krueger.
Makes sense.
Yeah, it does. He's burned. He has the long. Of course, they turn him into metal. I think that's metal, right?
They're like knives.
Yeah, they're like knives. Yeah, like Edward Scissorhands, but meaner.
Yeah.
Okay. Ever heard of Skinned Tom? I don't know why I'm asking this. I'm for sure you haven't heard of this. Skinned Tom comes to us from Tennessee. He's in Tennessee, the state, again, in the southern part of the U.S. He's a young man in the 1920s. His name was Tom, and he got to know a local lady, and they got a little romantic. So he took her out in his car, let's say his Roadster.
Okay.
And he took her to the local lover's lane. They're making out, doing what they're doing.
It's called necking back in the day.
They're necking. Unknown to Tom, turns out that lady was married.
Uh-oh.
She had a husband. That husband either found her or followed her. Let's say followed because it makes it a little more realistic. And he was pissed. He found them doing what they're doing, necking, maybe a little more. I don't know. It's the 1920s, but it went on. Don't you believe the old movies? And he murdered his wife, and then he grabbed Tom, captured him, and he skinned him alive, which is a thing, and it can be done.
Okay, but also that's the least believable part of the whole story.
I don't know, Carrie. He was pissed. He wanted Tom to suffer. And so folks these days say that Tom still can be found, his ghost apparently, or maybe it's him. He lived. You can live to skin him, by the way. Gruesome as that sound.
Can live?
You can, yes. So let's say he lived.
Well, not for long.
Yeah. No, you can live.
No, you can't.
You can. I mean, let's assume you take every single layer of skin off, but if you take the top 1 or 2 layers off, you can live. I'm pretty sure. If you take all of it off, probably not.
Let me make sure I only peel the top 2 layers off.
I guess if your skinner is a very precise person, then this can happen. Well, they say he still hung around in that area for many years to come, and he is also another bit of a vengeful kind of a person or spirit. I don't know which.
Spirit.
I'm now thinking a little more spirit, and he will kill anybody who's out there if they're committing adultery. So he somehow knows.
He's taking it out on the wrong people.
He kind of is, isn't he?
Yeah.
Well, why? Maybe maybe he's pissed off.
Is
maybe
he just
didn't
warning
know.
them into knocking it off so that they don't get caught?
He's flat killing them. Okay. So that's a little more. He's a little bit of a moralistic urban legend kind of a ghost creature, isn't he?
He's pretty much justifying what was done to him.
Yeah, he kind of is, isn't he?
But
he didn't know. I think he did not know.
The victim, you sometimes.
That's true.
In the wrong direction.
I think he didn't know that she was married. So maybe he's like, she's an adulterer and she got me killed. Maybe that's what it is. Let's go with that. Let's make Tom have some sense. Carrie, he was skinned.
Yeah.
All right. Give him a break. Give the man a break. He has at least 1 layer of skin gone.
I'm on Tom's side and I want him to rest in peace.
Oh, okay. That's nice of you.
Yeah.
The Bandage Man is an Oregon myth or urban legend, or let's say true story. It started being told about the 1950s. You're going to like this one too, you'll see in a second why this one's especially for you. He is said to have been a logger, and he, fell into the sawmill. Somehow he was just chopped up horrifically in the sawmill. And so
fell into the sawmill somehow.
I don't know how sawmills work. I've never even been to a sawmill. At least not one that's working. I don't know if I've seen a sawmill in movies. I may have.
Of course you have.
I'm sure I must have.
Didn't the log ride have a sawmill?
Did it? Yeah, but not a working actual sawmill, Carrie. Come on, man. So anyway, he's chopped up. He's badly injured. And so they wrap pretty much his entire body in bandages so he looks like a mummy, basically. But he's now a supernatural beast of some sort because even though the bandages are all bloody, and he starts to decompose. And so he stinks like rotting flesh.
Oh, yeah.
And these days, this mummy-like bandage man is said to be seen at times along Highway 101 between the Highway 26 junction to the north entrance of Cannon Beach.
Ooh.
Carrie?
That's somebody I know's stomping ground.
It is. And even as far down as Arch Cape. If you're not from the Oregon coast, you have no idea the hell those are. I don't know what the hell those are. Somewhere along the Oregon coast. Anyway. It's said some people also say he was an injured fireman or electrician, so there are various variations, but most people stick with the logger, sawmill worker kind of a thing or whatever. So along this area, though, he is said to do what comes apparently naturally to these urban legend creatures is to target teens in parked cars. What are you going to say?
Just kill everybody that he sees.
No. Well, Carrie, are you referring to Skin Tom? Because he only killed adulterers. So lay off Skin Tom. So this guy, the bandage man, he sees any, teens doing what they shouldn't be doing in parked cars. And I guess he jumps into your car. So he targets like pickups or open, convertibles or something like that. And he jumps into your vehicle. And apparently you don't notice it because the legend is that you are busy. Yeah. But as you drive away or either you're still there or you're driving away, you don't notice it until you start realizing, I smell rotting flesh. Mindy, do you smell rotting flesh? I do, Billy. And you turn around and there's the bandage man looking all bloody and bandaged and spooky and scary, smelling like a corpse. So he's a little scary. It said that he feeds because he's still alive. Apparently, this always happens. It's like retconning a superhero. It's like, wait, hold on. Captain America was made for World War II. Yeah. I know you got him in the ice for a long time. It still doesn't work. So the bandage man is said to feed on like dogs and stray dogs and animals and things like that, and occasionally even people. Yeah. In the 1960s, it was not uncommon in this area of the Oregon coast for the kids to play pranks. And I don't know what that means exactly. Did they put themselves in bandages and jump in your car?
Probably.
Probably, which I applaud that.
That's fun.
That is a lot of fun. But I guess these days it's kind of fallen out of knowledge. Most of the local teens have never heard of the bandage man. So I think they should. It's said that it was made up to frighten tourists, but it sure sounds like it was also made up to try to stop
teenagers
kids
from making out in cars,
necking,
etc.
Yep. Next one we have is the Bunny Man. We, of course, know the Bunny Man. Remember the Bunny Man?
Yes.
He is from episode 201. That was this idea that this guy, there's this 1904 bus crash, which we were thinking, was it a mechanical bus?
Yeah.
We were not completely sure. Is that an engine? Or is that did they have
horse-drawn
buses?
No.
We weren't sure. We think it was an actual car bus. But 1904 in Fairfax County, Virginia.
The numbers and it was 1940.
I don't think so. Oh, it's not.
Okay.
And so again, it was people, I guess, mental institution inmates being transferred, and the bus crashed, and they escaped. All of them were caught. All of them were caught.
We're not cutting that, by the way.
Fine, whatever. And except one, and that he would be said to seen dressed up like a bunny rabbit.
Because, of course, he had a bunny outfit.
He must have somehow. And he would hang out by the Fairfax Station Bridge and do terrible things.
He killed a bunch of bunnies and made an outfit.
So that's the story of the Bunny Man. If you want to hear more about that, please listen to episode 201. Now, do you remember, is that a real story based on a true story or not?
I'm going to say no.
The answer is no. One of the sources I saw on this, when I was putting this together, was that, and it's based on a true story. Here's how they said that. They said that in 1970, a person in a bunny suit, some guy in a bunny suit, was seen on the side of the road as this couple was driving by, and he's cursed at them and threw a hatchet at their window. And they just kept driving. They reported it, but nothing happened to it. And then 2 weeks later, a guy, presumably the same guy, in a bunny suit, was seen with a hatchet or a different hatchet, kind of chopping on a fence.
Yeah.
And again, that person reported that to the police. By the time the police came out there was no one in a bunny suit.
Yeah.
That supposedly, so to this source, again, I won't name what source it is, that makes it true. No, hey, dum-dum, that doesn't make it true. First of all, the thing you're reporting happened 66 years after the legend supposedly happened. A. B. It has nothing to do whatsoever with the legend really at all. And C, it may not have ever happened.
Yeah.
It could have easily been 2 people just having fun with the police based on the local legend. In fact, that probably was.
Yes.
So, or it's just some dude, having fun in a bunny suit.
Yeah.
Because he
trying to scare people.
There you go. So that doesn't make it true. So annoying.
Yeah.
Charlie No Face and Le Loyan are 2 urban legends that are a little bit similar. I'll start with Charlie Two Face. So I'm sorry. Did I say Two Face? I meant Charlie No Face.
I don't remember what you said.
Two-Face is a Batman villain.
I think you first said Charlie No Face.
Okay, good. Yeah. Charlie No Face was this man. He had a badly misshapen face. He was said to be, it was in Pennsylvania again, and supposedly you would go out in the woods somewhere along like Route 351 or something like that in Beaver County, Pennsylvania.
Cool.
Porn name of Beaver County would be
Beaver County.
And you would see this person, this horrifically misshapen face, and he would scare kids, and the kids would run away and not go into the forest, something like that. So it's thought of as an urban legend. Is this real or not? You know, one of those classic warning, don't go out there because Charlie No Face will get you.
I mean, do I believe Charlie No Face is real and
yes.
it's really out there? No, I don't believe it.
Charlie No Face was a real person. Charlie No Face was a man named Ray Robinson. He was born in 1910. And what happened at the age of 8, he touched 2 wires. I don't know if they're by his face or not, but his face was was burnt and disfigured terribly. He lived and grew up and was fine, was a completely nice, sane individual, but he lived off in this area there in Beaver County, Pennsylvania. He knew that his face would be scary, particularly to kids, so he'd only go out at night, and he would take long walks because he just wanted to get out of the house. He basically shut himself up in the house all day long, would take long walks out in along Route 351 during the night, so he didn't scare as many kids. But occasionally when a teen or something like that saw them, they'd be scared and run away from him. So he was a real person, just a severely injured person. He was supposedly very friendly, and if the teen actually was brave enough to to talk to him, he would let them take pictures of them with him in exchange for cigarettes. So
he would let them take pictures in the 1930s.
No,
40s?
He was born in 1910.
Yeah.
So this would be, he could have been 50, 60 years old by then. So it could be the 60s, 70s, even things like that. So he, there's decades later.
Okay.
He's just been disfigured almost his entire life. So Charlie No Face, urban legend, is a real, true story with a true person. That is less true.
So are there actual pictures all over the internet?
I don't know. I didn't look up
pictures
of Charlie No Face. I did not. I should have, huh?
Yeah.
Maybe I will.
I definitely will.
Okay. So another one a similar story comes from Switzerland, and that's this weird figure who walked through a thing called the Maules Forest, Maules. No idea how it's pronounced. Mole Forest? Let's go with that. I don't know. It's not delicious mole. That is good with chicken. And he has been seen. So this person was seen wearing a gas mask and like camouflage outfit. And every once in a while, people report, I saw some weird dude out there in a gas mask and camouflage. And, I don't know if local authorities would come out and not see anything and not find this guy, but people kept reporting there's this person, they called him the Ghost of Mole, or Le Loyan, Loyon, which means, as I quickly translate to English. So he's called the Ghost of Mole, or he's called Le Loyon, Loyon. Go ahead and check that in your Google Translate, because it translates from French to English as Loyon, Loyon. Not sure. It broke Google Translate. So he was this person who was seen in this gas mask, this camouflage, who's thought to be an urban legend. In 2013, though, a person walking by saw him and took a photograph of him, naturally enough, proving it's a real thing. And then a few months later, I don't know if it was published in the paper or word got out, but a few months later, out in that same forest, somebody found a gas mask and the camouflage coat that he'd been wearing, and it was just sort of ditched there. And it had a note with those items of clothing that said something to the effect that I'm a harmless guy. I'm tired of you people always staring at me and looking at me like I'm weird, like I'm some kind of a monster. I'm not. And people theorize that he then committed suicide or something like that. No, he probably just stopped wearing the gas mask and the camouflage coat and getting weird looks. But that was another example of something that actually happened. Now, we are going to end part 1 before we go on to part 2. In part 2, we're going to do dangerous people and vengeful spirits. And then we're going to finish, and there's a bunch of those. And then we're going to do a few that are kind of warning urban legends. And then we're going to finish up with the creepiest of the creepy urban legends. We'll end our scary creatures and ghosts part of it with the story of Resurrection Mary, another classic urban legend. Have you heard of this one?
It sounds familiar, but I don't know what it is.
Yeah, same here.
I probably heard you mention
I've heard it. I've heard the name.
Yeah.
So supposedly a woman named Mary, she is in Chicago. She lives in Chicago, and she spent the whole night dancing at a place called O. Henry Ballroom. She's with her boyfriend. At some point, though, she and her boyfriend had a bad fight. She storms out in a huff. She's very angry. She leaves the ballroom, says, "Leave me alone." She's last seen walking along Archer Avenue away from the O. Henry Ballroom. Not that far down the road, she is struck by a car, knocks her violently to the pavement, zooms on by, speeds away. It's a hit and run.
Yeah.
She dies on the road. Her parents come and get her body the next day, and they bury her in Resurrection Cemetery.
Ooh.
Yeah, I know. That's a weird name for a cemetery, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't like that. I'm uncomfortable with that. Knock it off, Chicago.
I mean, that's like Pet Cemetery for people.
It is, but it's even more on the nose than that, don't you?
Yeah.
No, they're going to come back to that. It's just called Zombie Cemetery. It's just as spooky. So they buried her in her beautiful white dress and dancing shoes that she loved so much. It's very sad. The hit and run driver, he was never found.
Yeah.
So over the years, she's supposedly like this a guy named Jerry Palis. In the article I read, he was described as a Chicago South Sider, like that's a thing. And
somebody who lives on the south side of Chicago.
I guess, but it sounds like a very Chicago thing.
Yeah.
And like people from Chicago think you should know what the hell that is. Knock it off, Chicago. You're not that big a deal.
I think the south side's the bad side, right?
Wow, that was a little bit racist, Gary. A little bit racist, Gary.
There's not.
It's a challenged. Well, it does.
Because I'm thinking Shameless. They're
Mm.
family of white Southsiders.
I guess they are. Well, they should probably relocate. Anyway, it's in 1939. He said that he met a woman at the Liberty Grove Hall on 47th and Mozart. So not the O. Henry Mall, not the O. Henry or the ballroom, whatever that was. And he said he danced with her all night. They even kissed at one point.
Ooh.
She asked him to drive her home along, you thought it, Archer Avenue. And of course, what happens in these stories is that he exits the car to let her out, and he walks around the other side to open her door. She's disappeared. She is no longer there. Or sometimes she walks toward the cemetery, like the gate. She has the person stop her at the gate, and she walks toward the gate, and she disappears at the gate. Supposedly, there's a part of the gate that looks burned, and so it said that in April of 1976, she burned her handprints into the gate.
Oh.
In fact, a truck crashed into the gate at that point, or knocked the gate and disfigured the gate. But let's go with that. Let's go if she burned her hands.
I have heard a variation of this.
Have you?
I'm sure it exists in more than one story.
Well, there's another story that I'm going to tell in the next part that's a kind of a similar story. It's called The Vanishing Hitchhiker. It's a little bit similar, but not exactly.
Okay.
She is someone, again, the idea is that her ghost apparently is having a good time dancing.
Yeah.
And you've been dancing and maybe even necking with a ghost all night long.
It's a common thread.
It is. There are Marys buried in Resurrection Cemetery. Unsurprisingly. So some researchers have tried to find, okay, is there a Mary that maybe fits this somehow? So some people think there's a woman named Mary Bregovi. She died in 1934. And so could that be it? She died in an automobile accident. She died in a car accident, but she wasn't hit and run. She actually died in a car accident. And the car accident happened up at the Loop in downtown Chicago. So it doesn't quite fit. But in 1999, a Chicago writer named Ursula Bielski, she found a connection possibly to someone named Anna Norkus, because her nickname was Maria. I don't know if it's Eastern European. They probably pronounce the J like a Y, so it'd be Maria, kind of a thing. So that's close to Mary, and she died in 1927, also by car accident. But she was hit on her way home from the O. Henry Ballroom. room.
Well,
So it
then
does.
there you go.
It could. So some people more and more thinking, hey, that's the Mary.
Yeah.
Now, where the whole part about her resurrecting and why her of all people, who knows? Maybe someone who knew her made up the story or invented the story.
Just some troublemakers.
Or maybe Southsider Jerry Palis really did dance with the ghost in 1939 and even kiss her.
There's a song from our era that references South Side of Chicago.
Is there?
Yeah.
Is it The Night Chicago Died? Great, one of the greatest songs of all time.
South Side of Chicago. Back in the
Is it The Night Chicago Died, isn't it? By
in the heat of the summer night.
Okay,
we're gonna cut this.
You need to sing the entire. No, we're for sure keeping that. I want you to sing the entire song right now. Go.
That's it, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
I don't sing. You know what? Sing more. I'm not sure.
That's all I can remember.
Please sing more, please.
That's all I remember.
Okay, well, thank you for that, Carrie. I appreciate that. Adding a little more local color to the Resurrection Mary myth. So that was the end of Urban Legends Part 1. Spooky Urban Legends Part 1. Again, next week for Part 2. They get scary. We have dangerous people and eventual spirits. We have some warnings. And we end it with some of the very creepiest urban legends. Hope you enjoy them until next time.
I'm going to have to get some candles so we can do it by candlelight next time.
That's a good call.
We need to be a little bit spookier.
Okay. All right. Yeah. Spooky here is really important for a podcast. But
we can tell everybody up front, hey, listen at night, turn out all your lights, light some candles.
If we start a fire, we are legally responsible for that. So maybe we should not do that. Don't.
You can get flameless candles.
Okay. All right. Good. Cover your ass. I like that. All right. Thanks.
Thanks for listening.